What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the creaTed podcast. I'm your host, Teddy Osuna, and today I'm joined by
Cory.
Cory. What do you go by on Instagram?
On Instagram, at Cory C Photography. Also on YouTube, Cory C Photography.
Okay.
Twitter, Cory C Photography. I don't really use Twitter right now, and I'm starting out my YouTube channel.
Oh, really?
Soon.
What's going to be on the YouTube channel?
Behind the scenes videos, tips and tricks, and maybe reviews of different lenses, things like that. I already have 6 videos filmed for it. Now I'm just working on the editing.
Okay.
You know.
What do you use to edit your videos?
Right now, DaVinci Resolve. Actually, I use Adobe Rush, but I'm going to be using Resolve 17.
You're the second person on the podcast that told me that they use Resolve.
Yeah, I like it. It's easy, and I kind of prefer the layout, using nodes and things like that. It's like a different kind of layout.
Gotcha.
You put effects on something in the timeline.
Is is the nodes just for the color grading, or is it for the whole edit, like the whole video edit?
It could be for anything.
Okay.
So like any effect. I believe even titles and transitions and everything can go. Well, I'm not sure yet about the transitions, but I know for different effects, you put that in the notes. I'm still learning that. I'm transitioning from Rush right now.
Okay, so you've been editing on your phone then?
On the laptop.
Oh, they have Rush on the laptop?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They have a desktop app as well. But yeah, I could use it on my phone. That's what it attracted me to that program initially, because it was cheap monthly, well, relatively cheap. It's only like $10 a month, and it's really easy to just pick up.
Okay.
So I didn't want to
easier than Premiere?
Yeah.
Okay, because I use Premiere right now to edit everything.
I was looking into that too. But I like how Resolve has like one fee,
Oh, yeah,
and
exactly.
Then, I don't have to pay monthly because there's different things that I already have subscriptions for.
Especially as a photographer, you have all kinds of subscriptions, I can imagine.
It starts to add up,
Yeah.
Once you get into video and videography, there's a lot of different things you have to consider.
Yeah, definitely. And as far as because since this is the creative podcast, I want to get to know the person, like I was telling you, behind the camera.
Right.
What got you into photography as a whole, and like where you're at now? What was your initial motivation and inspiration to get into the whole photography game?
Okay. How I started out is, basically I had a film camera, of course.
Okay.
Growing up, I'm old school.
Gotcha.
So this is before like the smartphone era, and you used to have to take a photo, wind it,
I shoot film myself sometimes, so
yeah,
I know how it is.
So I kind of started with that, which is some cheap film camera I had gotten for like a birthday or something like that.
Okay.
And I was just taking pictures of just whatever, I was like a kid. So then fast forward, I had a phone, and I think it was an HTC Evo 3D.
Okay. An Android.
I thought it was cool. Yeah, it was an Android phone. And I had some kind of camera app on there where you can change the depth of field using the app. It was like before portrait mode and all that.
Gotcha.
And you could also do like high dynamic range or HDR photos on it. So I would go out to the lake or wherever and just take photos, and I would print them up on 11x17 paper from Kinko's. It was before FedEx.
Okay.
And I think FedEx was around, but before they bought it.
Before, yeah, Kinko's. When Kinko's was the big
copies or whatever.
Gotcha.
And they were like $1.50 to print these things out. So I had like a actual physical portfolio of these posters.
Okay.
Flipping through. One of them was like a bird that I took a picture of at the beach. One of them was some trees or something.
Gotcha.
And I was taking photos, posting them up to my Facebook page at the time, and people were giving me compliments about the photos and everything, and I decided to get a little deeper into it. So I bought a Canon T5 from Fry's. It was on like their daily sale when Fry's Electronics was
doing
that.
Super popular.
Yeah, and it was kind of like the cheapest one. Like, I don't really know if I want to do this, so I'm just getting a camera that looks professional. I didn't really know what I was doing or anything like that, So I'm going out to La Jolla, to different places, different beaches, different parks, and just taking photos, even like downtown, doing street photography.
Okay.
And so I was into like street photography and landscape. So my whole thing was composition, like rule of thirds, and getting contrast in images, things like that. And then my wife had mentioned, you should take pictures of people or whatever. And I never really considered doing portrait photography or anything, so I didn't know where to start with that. So I ended up responding to a Craigslist ad
Okay.
for some company that was looking for a photographer for their apparel.
Okay.
So I went to that shoot. It was for women's swimwear and men's T-shirts. This is and when I had sent my portfolio to them, they're asking me to see my photos. You know, they're like, I had pictures of like seals and stuff, you know, like that I had taken.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, well, at least it looks like you could take a professional photo, you
Yeah.
know, or whatever. So basically that's what I sent to them. They decided to invite me out to this shoot.
Okay.
It wasn't a paid shoot or anything like that. It was just, they were just looking for a photographer. I wanted to photograph, you know, I didn't have any experience. I went to that shoot. I didn't know what I was doing. The first thing they tell me is they want to blur the background out and all this stuff. I didn't know how to do that. I had like a kit lens and a 55 to 250 Canon lens. So all I knew is that if I stood back far and I zoomed in close,
it would blur out.
It looked like the background was blurred. So I'm pretty much doing that during those shots.
And I'm pretty sure you were at like 7.4, like a super high aperture.
Yeah, whatever the max I knew a little bit. So I think I used to drop it into aperture priority.
Oh, okay.
I set my ISO to 100, and then I would just kind of let the camera do most of the work.
Gotcha.
You know? And through that photo shoot, I gained some experience. They said I killed it and that I did well and all this stuff, you know. And so they invited me out to the second shoot.
Okay.
This time, the first shoot was like 2 models. It was the guy that started the company and somebody and this girl. And then she had brought her friends down from LA for the second shoot.
Oh, wow.
So they start asking me about my Instagram page, like what's my Instagram? They want to tag me and all this stuff. I didn't have an Instagram. They all had Instagrams and stuff like that. So I created an Instagram page. Then I started messaging people on Instagram, seeing if they wanted to shoot.
Okay.
Of course, I didn't have any followers or anything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, this is how it goes. You know, no one's going to respond to you. They're like, all right, well, what do you do or whatever? You know, you could be great at something, but if they don't know,
they're not going to have the faith in you. Yeah.
So I started posting ads on Craigslist for like looking for models or whatever to shoot with, just to collab with or build portfolio.
Okay.
And people respond. I'd get all kinds of responses. And so I'd weed out the
weirdos,
you know, certain types of responses from ones that would be productive. And so I started collaborating with cool people. Then it's like, once I shoot with one person, oh, my friend wants to shoot or something, and then I'd get referred off to people.
Yeah.
Then I got into the meetup crowd. That was probably 2017, I think, when the meetups were really popping.
Yeah, I remember that when they were really popular.
Like Old Town, Balboa Park, all these different meetups, and that's where I met a lot of like photographers at and different models, and started shooting with them. Then like my goal when I started my Instagram page was to get 1,000 followers. I'm like, it would be so dope if I had 1,000 followers on Instagram, right? And I'm like, I gained a few 100 followers. I'm like losing followers. I didn't really know how to really, I guess, market my Instagram.
Okay.
You know, and so I'm just kind of shooting.
Like the whole Instagram algorithm game.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. I was just posting up stuff and taking a bunch of photos.
Gotcha.
Like I just love to do photography. And then I started meeting people at the meetups. And I started learning things from people that had like a big following. I'd ask them a bunch of questions, like too many questions. And then all of a sudden I started shooting with more people, you know, and it started to develop. And then my Instagram kind of gained traction, I want to say.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now. I just love
I mean,
to shoot.
you have a pretty decent following for.
Yeah. I would say for like a local.
Yeah.
Just kind of like basic photographer, yeah, you know.
Because I mean, I don't see you pushing the envelope as much as some other photographers that don't have that big of a following. Because I don't think that you need to specifically, because you already have the following behind it and you have the work to show for it, so you don't have to be out there in everyone's eye all the time.
Right, and a lot of it's too is it. I just get so busy, so. That's like how I am. I have to have a lot of different things going on at one time.
Okay.
So, and when I get a little bit of extra time, like I'll put something else on my plate. And that's kind of where I'm at with YouTube.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, I'm catching up on my editing for the first time in probably 3 or 4 years. I only have 4, well, actually I have 7 now. but let's say I have like 7 projects
Okay.
pending in my queue.
Like of photo sets that you have to edit.
Right.
Okay.
And that's like not a lot for me.
Gotcha.
You know, it could be like 12 to 19.
Damn. You really stay
sets.
busy.
Yeah, and it's just that I love to do photography. So pretty much the way I go about it is I'm just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody wants to shoot and they seem cool and it seems like they've shot with other photographers before, you know, and it'll benefit us to shoot, then I'm down to shoot with them. Now I'm attaching like behind the scenes videos to the shoot as well.
Okay, so you have a specific person who shoots you behind the scenes, or are you doing it all your own?
I'm doing it all my own.
Damn.
So what I'm doing right now, like you'll see on my YouTube page soon, but what I've been doing is I'll set like a GoPro to the side or something, run it, and then I have another backup camera on a gimbal that I'll use and get some behind the scenes videos.
Okay, what's your setup right now that you're using for the photography stuff?
The main photography setup right now is a Sony A7 III.
Okay. That seems to be the popular camera right now.
The only reason why I have it is because it's like relatively affordable within the Sony universe.
Yeah.
It's full frame. And I was going to get the 2 because I think the 2 was on sale, but the 3 just dropped and the 3 destroyed the 2.
Yeah, it did.
And I know the 2 was having like autofocus issues or something like that.
Okay.
I was reading about it online. So I read that the 3 was supposed to be like the next best thing. So I got that. And then I ended up getting a Zeiss Batis 85 millimeter off of one of my friends that does photography. Mm-hmm. He was trying to sell that lens, and he sold me that in a battery grip.
Okay.
And because I have to shoot with a battery grip, I don't like, it's just my personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like my arm over, you know, for like twisted off to the side for an hour or 2 hours.
Gotcha.
You know, it just gets kind of like it's putting too much strain on
and cumbersome.
It's like annoying.
It was funny. I was watching this photographer on Instagram, and he posted a story where there was a thumbnail of the review of the A9, and in the thumbnail is the photographer holding the camera, but the obviously the Sony has the battery grip, but the photographer is holding it or shooting the shutter on top. He's like, "You have the shutter on the battery grip for a reason. Use it." And I was like, "Yo, that's actually kind of funny that you brought it up."
It's funny that you mentioned that because I've seen a few people I've seen a known photographer doing that before. You know, with it's Nikon 850, the 850 battery grip, like holding it like all like this, you know, and stuff. I've seen people with flip out screens that are laying on the ground with their eye through the viewfinder.
With the flip out screen open?
No.
Okay.
But they have that capability.
Gotcha.
So my whole thing is, I know it's like anything to get the shot.
Yeah.
Like I'm a firm believer in like anything to get the shot, you know. But you have to, in my personal opinion, you also have to like use the technology to your advantage.
Yeah. Work smarter, not harder.
Right. So yeah, that's how first thing I'd gotten was a battery grip for this camera because it's too small. I don't think I have big hands or anything, but like my pinky hangs out below the A7 III, you know, I can't really shoot like that if I wanted to. So it's just more comfortable, you know, and then to have the shutter button on the right side is another thing. And then I think I was using adapted glass before I got the Zeiss. Actually, when I first got the camera, I had a bunch of shoots to do, and I didn't have any glass. So I think actually the first thing I had was the adapter, the MC11, Sigma MC11 adapter. Okay. And I was using Canon. I was coming from a Canon 5D Mark II.
Oh, damn.
So I had like a 70-200 f2.8. I had an 85-1.4 Sigma and a 35 1.4 Sigma Art. Those are my lenses, and all of that weighed like 150 pounds or something like that.
Those lenses get heavy.
Yeah, with the Canon 5D Mark II and the grip, that thing's like a tank, you know.
Yeah, when I got that one, I came from the Mark IV, the 5D, to the R4.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, that's a pretty good upgrade.
Yeah, definitely. The R4 is nice. Probably not so nice on your hard drives.
No, definitely
you shoot
not
uncompressed.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I shoot compressed RAW on the A7 III, and I actually switched out my 85 Batis. I traded it for a G Master 85 1.4.
Okay.
It was like a trade plus cash deal, and I have a 28-75 Tamron.
Okay.
f2.8. Then I also have a Sigma 50 millimeter f1.4.
And you have a whole arsenal of lenses.
Yeah, I have to. And then I recently got the 35 1.8 Samyang.
Okay.
Just because I didn't want to add anything else to my bag, because I carry all this. And my whole reason for going mirrorless was because of
the weight.
To take it easy on my back. But the thing is, it doesn't work like that, because once you add in, all right, so the lenses that I use, I almost kind of think of them like vehicles, and that's how, like, I'll explain it. So, like, the Sony G Master, the 85, it's kind of more like a luxury item. Could I get something? Could I do the job with something else, or could I do the job with the 85 1.8? Probably, But it's more like, just in my opinion, it's like a Rolls Royce, or maybe more like Mercedes or something. It's just kind of like nice. Could I get
Nice to look at?
Yeah, could I get A to B? And plus, I'm coming from using a Sigma 85 1.4.
I have I have one of those as well.
This was the non-art.
Okay.
The gold ring one from before, and so I'm used to that kind of 3D pop effect.
Oh,
and
okay.
everything. Like, if I'm using the 85 1.4, I'm only shooting at 1.4. That's the whole reason why I have it. And then I have so that's more of like, the luxury sedan or something. And the 28-75 Tamron's like the minivan.
Yeah.
Like, or just
like the Toyota
SUV or something, like, it gets it's like utility vehicle. It
just gets the job done for you.
Job done.
Yeah.
It's not like necessarily built the best or whatever, although that thing's pretty tough, but it could do pretty much anything.
Gotcha.
Then my Samyang f1.8, it's like a little Ferrari or something.
Really?
It's just a quick little light, like, fiberglass. It's like plasticky, nothing against, like, because Ferraris are dope and stuff, but I'm not saying in terms of cost. I'm saying in terms of
speed?
like just speed and
Okay.
quickness.
Gotcha.
Like, that's what it is,
Did you take advantage of any of the Prime Day deals yesterday?
Yeah.
What'd you get for photography stuff, or just in general?
Yeah. So the first purchase I got was a solid state drive.
Okay.
2,000 meg per second solid state drive.
What brand?
SanDisk.
Oh, okay.
Extreme Pro.
Is it like that really thin one? Like
Kind of. I mean, it's really rugged, You could throw it like against the wall if you wanted to.
because I have an SSD for my dash cam, and I have a SanDisk SSD, and that thing's super fast.
Yeah, I use internal, like, I have SanDisk internal solid state drive, and Western Digital, I believe.
Okay.
So everything I have doubles of.
Gotcha. Oh, damn.
Well, not everything, because I only have one A7 III, but hard drive.
But you have everything backed up just in
up.
case anything were to happen to the files.
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
So the SanDisk solid state drive, this is like the fastest one that's ever been released.
Okay.
Most of them are like 550 megs per second. Even the internal one, I think, is something around there.
Damn.
So this one's 2,000 megabytes per second.
That's super crazy fast.
It's like the fastest one over USB-C.
Mm-hmm.
So my intention is to use that for video editing, because it'll be faster than my local hard drive, especially on this laptop that I'm using to video edit on. So that was my first purchase on Prime Day. My last purchase was a beach bag. You don't know, like, I do a lot of beach shoots.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna talk about your.
It's a constant quest to like perfect the beach kit, the beach setup, because you got to have something portable, light, but you also got to carry all this stuff.
Yeah, especially with because sometimes obviously the location at the beach isn't literally just walk onto the beach and you're there. It's a little bit of a hike or a trek to get get the shot. And I'm pretty sure you take a flash with you as well.
Yeah. So that my lighting setup, yeah, I have a flash in there. I have a flash and a strobe.
Okay.
That I use.
What kind do you what is it, a certain kind, or do you use multiple different kinds, or?
It depends. Okay, so my flash is a flash point. I don't know the model,
Oh, no worries.
but
I'm not worried about the model types.
it's Adorama's brand.
Okay.
And so I've used that. Usually I use that if my 8200 isn't working,
Okay.
or maybe it's called Flashpoint Evolve 200. There's
I've heard of them. I've looked into buying them myself because I use that is actually my portable flash unit. That light right there. It's an
Okay.
Alien B, but it has to be plugged into an external battery, and I'm just like, that's way too
that's like
hard.
more like a studio one, right?
Yeah.
Like mono light, like a studio mono light or something. Yeah. See, Adorama has their own brand called Godox or Flashpoint.
Yeah, I've seen them.
So depending on what country you get it from or where you get it from, it's either called the Godox 80-200, which it's more commonly known as, or the Flashpoint Evolve 200.
Okay.
The one I have, I believe, is the Flashpoint, and I take that because it's light. It's 4 times more powerful than a flash,
Oh shit.
and it gets the job done. I rarely use it. I like to shoot natural light
Okay.
as much as possible.
I've seen some of the like your most recent posts. They look like it's been a little bit darker, so you've had to use a strobe to kind of counteract that, or is that just?
Yeah, or I'll use a 1.4 lens. So that's the
Oh, okay,
Cadillac.
gotcha.
That's what I call the Sigma 50 millimeter f1.4. It's like an 81 Cadillac.
Okay.
This thing is heavy. Like it's made of all metal. It's unnecessarily heavy because Sigma has not released a native mount
For Sony, right?
for Sony. So it basically has an adapter attached to it.
Gotcha.
So it's bigger than the Canon version, you know. But I have to use it because there's no other. Well, there's another option. There's the Zeiss 50 millimeter 1.4,
And didn't Sony just drop a new 50 or?
the 1.2.
Yeah.
But that's I've debated selling like all my lenses and getting that lens, just that one lens.
Yeah.
But I know what's gonna happen is I'm gonna regret it, and then I'm gonna go back and be trying to rebuild my kit.
Okay.
Like I'm happy with my kit the way it is. I just want it to be lighter.
Gotcha.
So one thing I'm looking at right now actually is switching out the Sigma 50 millimeter 1.4 and possibly going to this Viltrox lens it dropped. It's like a 50 millimeter 1.8.
I've never heard of that company.
Yeah, I had never heard of them either. And then they started dropping these lenses. They dropped a 85 for Sony that was good.
Okay.
They dropped some Canon EF-M mount lenses and Fuji mount lenses, whatever, and they're pretty good. So my thoughts are, if this thing can do 95% of what my Sigma can do, then I'm going to go with that because it's probably going to be around 500 grams or like less than a pound versus 2 pounds.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a lot, all right?
But it adds up when.
Yeah,
When
especially when you're shooting for a long time. It definitely adds up. And and the thing about how I shoot, I'm winging it like I'm really running gun. And so I'm kind of in that moment shooting.
Gotcha.
And then when I stop to think about it, that's when kind of the stress of the weight of the equipment will hit me. You know, I'm like, damn, I need to set this thing down. you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Luckily, you don't shoot weddings, so where that can be like a super strenuous day.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna shoot weddings. This is the thing about photography, like, and I don't know how it's like for everyone, you know, and I can't recommend a certain path for anybody or whatnot regarding that, you know. But for me personally, like, I never went into it, or I never approached photography like, this is what I'm gonna do for like a job or something.
Okay.
I don't know. That's kind of like how my approach has always been. Everybody's kind of different, you know. I know somebody who does photography, and she's kind of like known her a little bit, and but she was talking to me one time about this, that she has to take any job, so it'll be because this is her work. So it's like a product shoot, wedding, you know, all these things, and it could be an event, it could be whatever, graduation photos,
kind of like a jack of all trades,
right? And you so my understanding, and I mean, I could be wrong, and I am wrong a little bit, but as far as like the West Coast and Cali, it's difficult to kind of shoot what you want,
Yeah.
you know?
I do know.
So like like people, I know people from Miami, and there's a photographer out there that put me up on game and everything too when I was first starting in swimwear photography. And this guy will charge, let's say, a good amount per shoot. And then you have people that are like known photographers, like known names. Like if I said their name, you would know them.
Okay.
They charge a lot of money for their shoots. And what they shoot, 100% of what they shoot is exactly like their Instagram feed or their Instagram page, But they're out there in, like, let's say Miami or somewhere where these models are going to swim week. They're signed to big agencies and stuff, and they're making this money where it's nothing for them to drop, a bunch of money on
Like
a shoot.
10,000 for 15,000.
Maybe less. I don't know. I mean, it could be that, but some of the numbers I've heard are a little less. But yeah, it's nothing for them to drop money on a shoot because it's an investment for them.
What's one of the highest numbers you hear? You don't have to say the name, obviously.
Like 2,500.
Okay, that's not bad.
Like 1,000, and that's just for a basic shoot. Like these are numbers that I've heard or seen.
Okay, that's not a bad price, to be honest. Yeah,
just doing a basic shoot,
Gotcha.
10 edits or 8 edits or whatever, and then this much per edit, and so it's different depending on where somebody's at.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's something too about like swimwear photography, especially like people will ask me questions about, doing beach shoots and stuff, or even just swimwear shoots. Like, I know people that I'll meet from online just in different parts of the US or whatever, and it's different everywhere. San Diego, and this is kind of like the reason why how I got into shooting a lot of swimwear photography is because that's all anybody wanted to shoot.
Yeah.
So I did, my first shoot was for a swimwear brand. When I would post ads to Craigslist, people would hit me up and I'd be like, we could shoot whatever. Like, I'm down to just get some experience. Everybody wants to go to the beach. 9 times out of 10, they want to go to the beach and shoot.
It's the same thing even with family shoots. It's any family they're like, oh, I want family photos. They're like, I want to go to the beach.
Yeah.
It's the majority of people out here in San Diego, and I've experienced it myself.
Yeah.
So, because even I recently, a friend of mine asked me, she's like, I want to take photos of my son and I, but I want to go to the beach. And I was like, all right, well, that's okay.
The beach is tough.
It definitely is. Yeah.
I wouldn't, now, if I had to do everything all over again, and let's say like I would still shoot at the beach because I love the beach. You could see like my stories, I'm posting up behind the scenes of the beach, the waves, the water, how the waves crash against the rocks. Like, I personally love the beach, but if it was like an ideal, like perfect world or whatever, like we'd all probably want to be in a studio, like where it's super easy and you could just walk up and press a button or something. But
Yeah.
I mean, that would be like from a photographer's perspective, but from a creative perspective, I wouldn't want to do that. Like, I love shooting at the studio, and I'm going to be shooting at a studio soon that invited me out to shoot there and stuff. But for the most part, I like being in challenging environments.
Okay.
That's the whole reason why I kind of got interested in photography,
Yeah.
is that it's technical and it's creative. Like, I used to produce music and make beats and stuff.
Okay.
And sit there and just be worried about making these beats all day. And then I've also, like, I worked in IT security and IT and with computers and things like that. So something that's really creative and something that's really technical. And then photography is something that, even when I was working in IT and everything, I mean, it's just something that it's this outlet, right? Have to troubleshoot constantly, but it's also very creative. And so, like, when I'm out there at the beach, there's a lot of different things I have to keep in mind. How bright the sky is, how the exposure is on everything. And then I shoot how I edit. So will I have to underexpose everything? And do I trust that the shadows are going to come back if I do that?
Okay.
In that case, do I need to bring in a light? If I bring in a light, will it compromise I guess what I would consider like the purity of the scene or something?
Gotcha.
Now, is this tree, just showing up in the shot in a weird place? Is this rock showing? So my whole point is to frame the subject to make them stand out.
Gotcha.
So I'm constantly moving. I'm constantly adjusting the lighting. I'm checking how the lighting's hitting off of them. I'm checking every little situation that I can try to control.
Yeah.
And then I just press the button a bunch of times and hope it all works out. No, but there's a lot that goes into it.
Oh, definitely. And a lot of people don't realize how much actually does go into a photograph.
Yeah.
A professionally produced one, because some people are just like, I'll take it on my phone. It's like, yeah, you can take it on your phone, but will it look as good as someone like you who studied the light or studied the composition, knows the rule of thirds, like all that stuff? So
I think that when I do a shoot, I'll take 1,000 shots. I think that I'll get 100 shots that are maybe something I'd want to send out. Like I'll let the model choose between the shots or whatever, and then we'll get, so maybe a 10th and then a 10th and then a 10th. So it'd be like there might be 10 or whatever edited, and then there's 1 or 2 posted,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of shots that get edited that don't show up.
Yep.
In my feed,
Same with me. I know exactly how that is.
There's hundreds of thousands of shots that get taken that just
We'll never see the light of day.
deleted or archived or whatever, just backed up. I'll shoot a lot of the same pose, and I think it's for me, it's for 2 reasons. The first reason is because I'm kind of scarred from the Canon 5D Mark II days.
How so?
I used to shoot sunset all the time with the Canon 5D Mark II in the old Sigma 85 millimeter f1.4 that didn't really have great autofocus.
Okay.
So 3 out of 10 shots are going to be in focus.
That's why you take so many.
Yeah, I better take a lot of shots because
Yeah.
it could be frustrating. You're looking in the back of the camera. The camera screen is not a 4K monitor.
Yeah.
It's not a 1080p monitor. It's a low quality monitor.
Especially the 5D Mark II. That one was like not even 480.
Yeah, it'll look sharp. You zoom all the way in, you're like, oh, I got focus. It'll even look like it's in focus because you know how you can tell when it's not in focus. It's a little bit blurry or whatever on the back, but it'll look like it's in focus. You get home and you zoom in 1:1 in Lightroom, and it's off, and it just kind of bothers me. I'm like, I wish I had like a tack sharp
Image
version
of the
this
eye.
photo.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I switched to Sony as soon as I heard about this eye autofocus and how accurate it was and stuff. And I talked to somebody who was using it. I think I was at one of the camera stores and was kind of amazed at how quickly it'll acquire focus. Like I think I had 9 autofocus points on my Canon 5D Mark II. So I used to have to use a joystick. So focus recompose. So I'm focusing using this point, hoping that it's got it, and then moving it a little bit and then taking the shot. So now I'm like, this is like cheating. I could just hold the focus button down and I know that it's in focus.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting 9 out of 10 in focus or more, but I still take a lot of photos.
Yeah.
That's one reason. Another reason too is micro expressions.
Oh, the little nuances of the model in between. Yeah.
I could take 5 shots that'll look pretty much the same, but once you get flipping through a lot of photos and you kind of get used to seeing a lot of photos, it's easy for me to be like, no, this is the one right here. So out of these 5, they look like almost identical photos, but there's that one that just has like more of a kind of commercial look to it than the other ones.
And then even like you said, the micro expressions is like a model will look at one and say, I like that, my smile in this one better than this one. But someone else would look at it like, you look exactly the same. But to her, it's like, no, this is the one.
Yeah, and that's a great point. People know, what they like to see from themselves. So, and people always think they have a side,
Yes, I was gonna get to that. Yeah.
So, and if people think they have like that this side's better, then I'm not gonna argue like, well, especially if I'm trying to compose or whatever, I'll compose based off of that, or I'll direct around that.
Do you ask them, like, do you have a side you prefer, or
No?
Okay.
Unless they bring it up, but I'm just shooting, and then I'm shooting the shot like how I'm envisioning it.
Okay.
And if they're saying that they like this side better or whatever, then I'll shoot that side, but I'll have to kind of reframe it from that angle. And what I mean by that is like at the beach, you know, I might want the ocean on this side, or I might want the ocean on this side. And depending on what they say is their favorite side, I'm going to have to shift them around, or I might shoot towards the rocks, or I might, you know, have them pose a certain way. But I mean, if what I'm getting to with that is that it's not really like up to me to tell them like, oh, well, you look the same on both sides, we should just shoot like this. Like I'll never say that, because I want people to feel comfortable. That's the most important thing. Because if you feel comfortable, you know, and I'm taking photos of you, then we're going to get the best photos.
Yep, that's true.
So it's like they like this side better, or this side, or if it's wrong or right, you know, whatever, like none of that matters. All that matters is that they're comfortable. If they're feeling it, you know, and they're feeling like the best version of themselves, you know, we're going to get these fire shots.
Yeah.
A lot of it's like mental, like in the mentality of the person, you know. And if you don't think it's like that, then become the model, you know what I mean?
That's kind of why I started doing this, where like I'm in front of the camera and I'll look at myself sometimes. I'm like, God damn. All right, I know that, you know, I look good in this certain spot, but then if I like shift myself, I'm like,
Right. This is the first thing I did. So I'm like recording for my YouTube channel, and I'm recording all these takes at the beach or whatever, and just like vlog style or whatever. Yeah. And then I come home and I'm watching them, and I'm asking my wife, I'm like, do I really look like this? You know, it's like I'm starting to feel like, oh, well, maybe I should, you know, shift over to this side or whatever. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, you know, but but it's important to me. But that being said, like I'm not gonna, for me personally, it also takes a certain amount of confidence, I feel.
Oh, it definitely does.
You know, and that's why like models have it difficult. You know, I think with photography, it's technical and it's creative and everything, and it's the same thing with modeling. Mm-hmm. So models have to consider a lot of different things.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people who kind of talk shit on Instagram models, they don't realize how much shit they have to go through to kind of get to the level of where they're at. Like there's some models who have anywhere from like, let's say 250 to 1 million, and they got there because they worked their ass off, and like literally they work out every day. They do right by like their body. Yeah, some of them may have surgeries or whatever, but there are some models where they're working hard every day to make sure that like Instagram grind is a genuine grind, staying at that top tier, you know, and getting those brand deals for whatever it may be. Because sometimes these models can get like, I don't know, $50,000 to $100,000 on a brand deal for whatever it is, and here comes some other girls like, oh, why can't she get a brand deal? I can do the same shit. It's like, well, you didn't put in the work like this person did, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And something I will add to that, because I've worked with models with millions of followers. I work with a model that has like 12 million followers now, and
wow,
one has like 4 million and 1 million something. And here's something that I noticed with everyone that's kind of at that level on Instagram, you know, as far as amount of followers or whatever. They're super down to earth, like humble, nice, and they're easily accessible. Like if you message them about something, they'll message you back like quick, you know. They'll confirm everything, you know what I mean? Like it's like saying they're easy to work with. Super easy to work with.
So what you're saying is to kind of it's easier to get a hold of a model that has millions of followers than it is to like with someone who has like 5,000 followers. Yeah. Well, that's to me is like mine. Like it's kind of ass backwards, but
I don't know, because I'm not working off a sample set of 1 million different individuals.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's true.
In my personal experience, I wouldn't say that they're easier to get a hold of, or that anything's lacking with one person based on their following or anything like that. I'm just like me personally, in my personal experience, I notice that people that make it far in the industry, and that a lot of companies deal with them and everything like that. I mean, because everybody has been cool with me. Like, I haven't really had any problems.
That's a good experience to have then, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have, like, I've never had any issues or anything like that. So I can't really speak on it if they're more or less or whatever, easy to get, easy to work with. But I just know that they're easy, easy to get a hold of, easy to work with. And I'm assuming this is why companies deal with them. Because you find out real quick when you do these shoots and you deal with people from LA and stuff, that the most important trait you can have is to be on time.
Yeah, definitely.
And be prepared,
Yeah. There's been a few models that I worked with out in LA, and their following is a little bit bigger than some of the models I've worked with here in San Diego. And when I've worked with them, it's confirmation the day before, pictures of what their outfits are the day before. Like, is this cool? Like, all right, cool. Let's get this and this outfit done. And the whole interaction has been very pleasant. And then there's been, some people here where it's just, I'll send off a message and it'll just never get read. And I'm like, all right, cool. I just go on about my day and just let it be,
Yeah, and honestly, like, I'm trying to be better about this and about my DMs also, because I'll be setting up shoots and stuff, and what happens is I'll be talking with different people about shooting, and then I just get buried with things that I'm doing.
Okay.
And so I'm not going back, and so I always take like accountability or responsibility for these things, like ownership over it. So maybe I should message people more or something, or like try to reach out and stuff. Because I'm kind of like, I'll hit somebody up about shooting or they'll hit me up about shooting. We'll talk about it, and then I'm not really following up, and maybe I should follow up or something. But it's because I'm so busy doing these other 3 shoots, and it's kind of like that. Like that's with me personally, it kind of gets like that, So I get really, really busy, and like I don't have. Instagram doesn't really have an easy way to manage DMs.
No, it's not. It's really weird because there's 3 sections of messages, which is really confusing to me sometimes. It's like the primary messages, the general, and then the request folder.
Yeah.
And that to me just throws me off sometimes. I'm like, it says I have a message and I checked all of them, but there's no message.
You see, and the thing is too, like I could literally show you I'm not going to show you my DMs, but I could show you my
It's all good.
my DM. Like I have so many people that are messaging me, and it's tough. So now they have the thing where you can star the messages.
Okay.
You can like flag or whatever, not flag like report, but like favorite or star the message.
Well, flag it to make sure that that it's flagged for yourself. Yeah.
So you can scroll through and see them, but they won't let you sort by that. They won't let you create your own folder for messages.
Okay.
See, I would love to be able to do this, like kind of like an email program, like create a folder.
Oh, like Gmail or something. You just have
shoots, current shoots, past shoots, future shoots.
Gotcha.
Just different things, like photographers that I know and stuff. Like put everybody in different folders, and I could kind of manage it easier versus having a string of 100 and something people that I'm messaging or dealing with, and then I'm having to go back through and find this.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was worried about reaching out to you, because I was like, I'm pretty sure this guy gets tons of messages all the time. I was like, I'll just do it just to see kind of what happens. So the fact that you were able to actually do it and we were able to get in contact and do this, I was like, all right, cool.
See, I try to, and that's the thing. I try to respond to every message that comes to me, unless it's some weird shit. Like, photographers will get this message too. Especially, I know because other photographers that do similar photography to me, they'll post this to their story. I never really like bust anybody out, but like random people, just random accounts will message me thinking that I'm the model in the profile picture, or I'm the model that I posted, in the story. And they'll say things that, are not really appropriate or whatever. And I just kind of delete these messages, or they'll try to send me links to crap or try to send me things, attachments, and I just delete. I'm not trying to see any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And at the same time, that kind of helped me see what people go through, because I get a little fraction of what people probably go through, just as far as that. But that being said, I address like every message I receive in one way or another.
Okay.
If I don't think it's like legit, as far as somebody trying to reach out to me or whatever, I'm just gonna delete it. Like if I go to their account and people don't really have like, they're not even active or whatever, you know, like I'm not taking it serious, you know. And I think that's the thing too. It's like if you take it serious, and then you're gonna have like current things, you're gonna have a story post, you're gonna have whatever, and you don't know who this person might be on the other end, because anybody can post a picture up and just message you.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like, do you want to shoot and this and this? So that being said, I try to address every request that comes through, you know, or everybody that messages me. I think the part where I can be better, that I'll admit I could be better on, is following up on different things. So like you were telling me about this podcast, so I'm probably going to message you and be like, yeah, cool, like let's do it. But we don't have like a day or time set up, right? And then I'm going to get busy and I'm going to forget about it. And unless you message me back, like a month later is going to go by and I'll be like, shit, what about that podcast? You know? And then I'm going to have to go back through and scroll through.
Yeah, just to see
shit,
like which
you know?
message it was. Yeah.
And in the meantime, I don't know what you're thinking, you know, you might just be like, oh, this dude's really busy, or he don't want to do it or whatever, you know? So it's like me trying to go through, and I do that now. Like I actively go through my messages and I try to catch something. Like if I was supposed to shoot with or not like I had something set up, but we were talking about shooting and I want to make sure that we actually do shoot, you know, I will go back through and see, you know, where that's at.
How many, like, on average, if you were to look at your DMs right now, how many messages are requesting to shoot with you right now? Do you think, like, the number of people that want to shoot with you?
Well, that's a great question. Are you talking about like shoots that I need to set up? Or are you talking about like just people that probably want to shoot with me?
A little bit of both.
Probably like 25.
Okay.
Probably, I'm guessing. This is a super.
And out of those 25, do you have to weed out like who you think, like, all right, this will benefit me, but maybe not, and then kind of go that route, or how do you do?
I guess kind of like right now, for example, I'm probably setting up 10 shoots.
Fuck. That's good.
Like
That's really
I could
good.
shoot every day. I shot 4 times last week, like 4 days in a row, and so I'm doing collaboration shoots. Like,
Okay.
I'm trying to build YouTube content.
Gotcha.
Right. So this is the benefit for me, you know, is I can film, you know, my stuff for YouTube, because my YouTube channel, I have 6 subscribers right now. At the time of this video, I'm gonna have 6,000 now. I don't know.
When are you launching your YouTube channel officially?
Officially?
Yeah. Like the first video will be out and people can go watch
I'm
it.
posting my first video on Friday.
This Friday?
This Friday.
So that'll be what day will that be? 25th of June.
Sure. 25th of June. And I'm just going to kind of like speak it into existence. So I'll post my first video this Friday.
Okay.
And then I'll be posting every Friday.
Okay.
Or if I have too much content, I'll post every Wednesday and Friday.
Oh, nice.
That's the way I'll do it. And so I'm shooting for YouTube every day last week because we had the heat wave.
Yeah.
And plus I live inland and it's hot.
Where do you live? City.
Like San Diego City.
Okay.
You know, and so basically, like, I'm not wanting to hang out around my part of town where it's 90 degrees.
Yeah, for real.
So I'm going to the beach every day and just hanging out there and doing my YouTube and photo shoot. Now, I could schedule these shoots for the same day, but I decide not to, because in my personal experience, when I schedule shoots with different people on the same day for the same time, you know, to make it like convenient for me to be out there or whatever, just different people, you know, have completely different situations and scenarios and things they're going through or whatever, you know. And a lot of the places that I go to, like where I shoot at in Encinitas, I'm walking way down over here. So it's hard for me to explain to you where to meet me at there. Like, I want to meet you here, you know, and at this specific spot, because it's easy for me to meet you here. But once I'm out on the beach, like, there's no service even in some of the spots.
Yeah.
And Encinitas is really weird. You can be by the cliffs or by the rocks and you won't get service. You can be halfway to the to the water and you get service. Then you could be by the water, you don't get service. Then you can jump over 10 feet and, it's like spotty as hell.
Yeah, for real.
So I can walk to a certain spot and I get a flood of messages, So to avoid that and to avoid having to wait, some people might have things going on or whatever, and they're like, I won't be there for, for a while or whatever. It's just easier, to split up my shoots.
So, as far as your job goes, do you do photography full time, or do you have another like a regular 9 to 5?
Yeah, I don't depend on photography.
Okay.
That'd be the easiest way to say it.
Okay, so but you do have like like another job outside of that, or you just?
Yeah, right now, yeah. So, yeah, I do different things, Okay. So, but I don't depend on photography. What I'm trying to do with my photography really is build up kind of like a brand, like a personal brand.
Okay, gotcha.
That's where I'm at with my photography.
Mm-hmm.
So with my photography, my main focus right now is continuing my Instagram page and building up my YouTube channel.
Pretty sure with the following you have on Instagram, the YouTube channel just go on up with it.
I hope so. I wish I could transfer all my Instagram followers to subscribers on YouTube.
If only it was that easy, right?
Yeah. I mean, and I hope that everybody that follows me on Instagram subscribes to me on YouTube.
Gotcha.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Because YouTube, I feel like there's more possibilities. And for me personally, what I'm doing is I'm looping it all back. So every shoot that you see on my Instagram page will be associated with a YouTube video.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Gotcha.
And then every YouTube video that you see posted will be associated with post on my Instagram page. So it's kind of this circle.
So it'll be like pretty much like a whole story. Like if you see the set, how it came to be, go to my YouTube and you can see the final images on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly like that. And then I feel like YouTube provides opportunities that Instagram doesn't.
As far as sponsorship or like Google AdSense, that type of thing, or
yeah. So Instagram doesn't have an infrastructure set up in place for photographers, I feel like.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
I feel like Instagram is a great platform for photographers and a great platform for people in general. Anybody trying to do anything, Instagram's a great place, because never in history that I can remember was there such an easy way to access people, like to get in touch with people. Facebook kind of got there, but Instagram's just kind of like everybody's using Instagram.
Have you tried using TikTok at all? I know a lot of people kind of look down on TikTok as like, that's kind of shitty.
I mean, I don't really have an opinion on TikTok one way or another. I don't have it installed on my phone. I don't use it.
Okay.
But I know a lot of people that do use it, and I've seen TikTok before, but I don't have a TikTok.
Because there's some photographers where they'll start like kind of what you're doing on your YouTube. Well, they'll do the whole tutorial thing. They'll give like a minute tutorial or something, or now it's 3-minute video. So they'll do like a 3-minute tutorial on a quick skin smoothing thing or a lighting setup or something.
Yeah.
And that'll in turn like they'll like, all right, go watch the full video on my YouTube, and then I think it's a lot easier to grow on TikTok than it is on YouTube sometimes. And I feel like a lot of people who are on TikTok, they use that platform and they just grow super fast.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something I'd be opposed to. Yeah, I would definitely post to TikTok. I just haven't posted to TikTok.
Okay, no, I was just asking because, like I said, like I was telling you, there's a bunch of photographers on there where they've made their career off of that, and they're just like super big now. And they've, there's this one girl that I follow on there. She's got like brand sponsors deals with the new Nikon Z series cameras. And she was shooting with Canon cameras in her TikTok videos, but Nikon reached out. I was like, hey, we'll give you a camera, just shoot a video with it, and you can keep it. And I was like, hey, that's kind of genius,
Yeah, that would be ideal. If Sony reached out to me or Sigma reached out to me or something like that.
Yeah.
Through TikTok or YouTube or whatever. And that's part of the reason why I want to get on YouTube. YouTube is really established. So.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I read that there's 2 billion unique visitors to YouTube monthly.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
So every month, 2 billion people
It's a lot of people.
are on YouTube. That's logged in, or actually not even logged in. That's just different devices. So maybe it's the same person with different devices, but unique visitors or unique viewers, on YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's kind of unmatched. YouTube is installed on every TV that you can buy these days. There's the YouTube app on any smart TV.
Yeah.
On people's phones, so it's very easy to watch it.
True.
And it's high quality. It used to be that, you'd have to kind of download a YouTube video.
Yeah.
If you remember back in the days, I want to say back in the days, it wasn't that long ago, but like early smartphone
Like
days.
2008 when the iPhone had the old YouTube TV app.
Yeah, it's
icon
3G connection.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
have to wait for the video to catch up, and it was crappy quality.
And it was only like 480.
Yeah, now you can watch a 4K or 1080p video like instantly.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to access, and it's accessible to everyone. Everybody knows what YouTube is, and they have the best infrastructure set up. So they have AdSense, they have affiliate links, they have sponsorships. Now, and they let you utilize all three of them.
Yeah.
So let's say even if you don't have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, and you're so like a channel that's monetized, you can still use affiliate links or use whatever. So
Yeah.
you could pretty much get it cracking on YouTube immediately if you were so inclined. Instagram doesn't have that type of setup.
Yeah.
That I've seen. I read that they were trying to make it to where IGTV videos can be monetized, and they were trying to share ad revenue with creators. But that was like 2 years ago, and they haven't stepped towards that.
Yeah.
And now on Instagram, it's cool. You can get like free stuff. So companies will be like, do you want to try this out? This one company hit me up about something, and they offer to give me this for free if I post to my story about it or whatever. And if it's something that I'm feeling like that I would use anyways or whatever, then yeah, like I'm down for that. But I'll get random requests for stuff that like has nothing to do with me, and people will be like, can I send you this or whatever?
Okay.
And I'm not really into all that. I don't really care for all that.
I was gonna say I don't know if you're into shooting like with you've probably seen them, but there's filters for your lens where it'll create a certain effect, kind of like what prisms do.
Yeah.
So there's this company called Prism Lens Effects.
Yeah.
You probably heard of them. They just started their affiliate link thing where if you wanted to be an affiliate with them, you just reached out to the owner on Instagram and he would like hook you up. And I was like, I kind of wish I had a bigger following, because that would be like a lot easier for me to push that on Instagram, because you could just use that and then link it through your bio or whatever, the link tree or whatever it is you use for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Instagram. Okay, like in my personal experience with Instagram, like I was saying before, my goal was 1,000 followers or something. I thought it would be the best if I got 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is never going to happen. And then it kept jumping up, and I work with people that one person I work with, and she posted a photo up, and we get like 400,000 likes. And every time I look at my phone, I have like 50 followers. My phone's like blowing up.
Oh, damn.
Every time I look, and I was out on a shoot. I remember when this thing got posted, because I'm like, why am I getting so many followers all of a sudden, and just followers. And then just stuff starts ramping up. There used to be all these shout out pages, and they would post things to their page and their story. And then I get followers, and then all of a sudden I have all these followers, and I don't even know what I did, and I've never used like an app or a bot thing or whatever, or bot followers or any of that stuff,
Gotcha.
I've just kind of let my Instagram go.
And just let it go organically?
Yeah. I don't even know what happened. And my personal experience with Instagram is I just post the stuff that I like to post.
Okay.
And people will mention, like, more than once people have said, oh, your page is so aesthetic or whatever, and I don't even care about that. Like how my feed looks. Like I just happen to post all these sunset photos in a row, or I happen to post whatever, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of how it works out. And I feel like there probably are people that understand that or that see that, that are kind of feeling that. So those people that are kind of feeling how my page is, like for real, I want them to hopefully find more value in checking out my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And then they can see, what I'm doing behind the scenes. They get more comfortable with me as a person.
That's exactly why I started this podcast, because it's like I said, the majority of photographers don't really do this type of thing where they're going to sit down and talk to
Yeah.
people and say, this is why I got started, or this is why I love doing this. They're just like, this is the photo I took. All right, cool. Then go about their day, which is cool if that's your thing.
Yeah.
But I've always been of the mindset where it's like, I want to get to know that person. Like what motivates them to go out and shoot every day? Because there's some days where I don't want to shoot. I don't want to pick up the camera, but you might say something, or you might hear somebody say something as a fellow photographer and be like, oh, damn, I can implement that into my way of life. And then that'll push me to kind of shoot more often as well.
So what's your master plan with photography? Like, do you have like a plan? Like, where do you, so I'm going to flip
No worries.
Flip the podcast. So where do you see your photography going 3 years from now?
I want it to be where I can live off the photography that I do. I want to live off of my camera, whether that's producing just strictly photos or producing podcasts, videos, and photos. I would love to do just whatever it is I can behind a camera. That would be like awesome to me. I don't want to have to rely on having to go to work for somebody like I'm doing now. Granted, it's a company that I run, but I don't want to have to do that every single day. I want to wake up like, all right, cool. What do I have on the schedule for today? I have this and this shoot, this podcast at this time. Cool. That's how I want it to kind of the trajectory of what I would like for it to happen.
And so how do you see that developing? Like so you're doing the podcast now, and you have done a lot of photo shoots, and your work's really good. I've seen it on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And
thank you, by the way.
You're welcome. And so it's definitely legit. So like, what's your next step?
It's literally just pushing myself more to create more, because this whole pandemic thing, and I know I said it in the past like few podcasts that I've done, it put me in a very depressed state of mind that I hated myself for a couple months. And I just literally let my camera just sit there for months, where I was like, fuck the camera, I'm not going to use it. And then something just kind of clicked, and I was like, no, you love being behind the camera, just shoot some stuff, have some fun with it. So then I picked up the my film camera again, and I just started shooting more film, and I was like, this is actually a breath of fresh air. Go out with 36 shots, take that, get it developed, and look at those. That kind of
film.
Yeah, it kind of motivated me going back to the camera.
So are you okay with talking a little bit about why you were? I mean, of course, we all know why everybody was down during the pandemic. We couldn't go outside.
Yeah.
We couldn't do anything. You couldn't even go to the beach. I mean, or really anything, really. But like, are you okay with talking about personally for you, like what kind of got you down?
It was a number of things. Unfortunately, like I was just going through a whole bunch of stuff with my kid's mom, where it was just it's stuff that was getting to me. Her and I are no longer together, but it was just stuff that like on that side, and then stuff from work, because work for me is really hectic. I'm a manager of a group home, so I had 6 lives that I had to take care of outside of my own and my kids' lives. So that kind of like put me in a funk where I was like, damn, I have to take care of all these people. When do I have time to take care of myself? So that can kind of, that really messed with me mentally, where I was like, fuck, I have no time to literally just take care of myself. So it's just, I kind of kept falling and falling and falling. And then finally I was like, I took some time. I was like, I need some time to myself. And thankfully I did it. And then I've just kind of slowly been getting out of that.
Do you feel like taking film photos or working on film photography, because you mentioned like taking 36 shots and then developing them, do you feel like that kind of helped you get that grounding because it's more involved, or there's more steps to it, it's more hands-on?
Yeah, definitely, because it slows you down as a photographer. I was kind of having this conversation yesterday with someone else, where when you have these digital cameras, you're like you said, you shoot 1,000 photos and not think anything of it, because you want to
Right.
get that shot in focus, make sure it's in focus. But when you have only 36 shots in one roll, you kind of take your time to make sure you are in focus, because once you get that shit developed, there's no fixing it in post at all.
Yeah.
So that, to me, it definitely put me in a different state of mind. I was like, all right, just slow down with the photo shoots. Even when I do digital shoots, I'm just like, slow down. You don't need to do that quick. Like,
Right.
you obviously you can work quickly to make sure that the shoot goes smoothly and timely, but just kind of slow down, take a breath.
That's a great point. And what kind of film photography are you into? Do you shoot what we see on your Instagram on film? Or
No,
are you
I have a
shooting-
completely different Instagram for my film photography.
Okay.
There's some I have shot some models with my film, but mainly I've shot street,
Oh, that's cool.
just lifestyle stuff or whatever, or my kids or something. It's just something to take the monotony of models all the time, because
Yeah.
shooting models all the time can be like, all right, cool, another model, same pose. Kind of, it becomes repetitive,
Okay.
and all that. It's not a bad thing. It's fun for sure, but sometimes just to step out of that and get your mindset thinking differently.
So a challenge.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, regarding the challenge with your photography and using film, so, I'm surprised you don't shoot Fuji.
No, yeah, it's that's really funny that you brought that up. I personally don't really care about the whole Fuji thing where you're like, if you shoot film, you have to shoot Fuji, this or that. But my girlfriend, actually, she's seen the Fuji digital cameras, and she's like, I want one of those. That's why I thought it was funny, because she's seen those Fuji cameras, and she's like, I really want one. And we had gone to this camera trade show, and if you just gave them your ID, they'd lent you a Fuji camera for the day.
Wow.
And she just used it that whole day. They're just like, put your memory card in, you can just have it for the day.
Was it like an X100V or F or whatever, or like one of the fixed lens ones? Or
No, it was like an SLR.
interchangeable
Yeah.
lens? Okay.
Yeah.
They had a deal on Prime Day. It was for a Fuji X E3.
Okay.
I think it's an older one. It was released in like 2017. But this camera was like, now, of course, this is a lot of money, but in the photography world, this is like nothing. So it's the camera was $500 for the camera body, or it was like $759, I think. That came with the 23 millimeter f2 lens.
Okay.
Like the good 23 millimeter,
Gotcha.
which would be like a 35 millimeter equivalent or whatever. So I bet you a lot of people picked up a Fuji camera that day, because I mean, when you're buying lenses and cameras and stuff, I mean, $750.
That's not that much.
It's not, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for a camera and a lens. Like, that's a good like entry level, choice. To
Yeah, because it's kind of like if you were to get the Canon R6 right now with the body and the lens, it's $3,500 depending on what lens you get.
And then if you get the R5 just by itself,
That's like
it's $3,500
exactly.
plus tax.
Yeah.
Or if you go Fuji medium,
Format. Yeah.
the high end, or not, it's not high end. It could be a whole different subject in the photography world, right?
Definitely.
Hasselblad and
My dream camera right there.
Phase 1.
Yeah.
Now, since I just mentioned that, what do you think about medium format cameras? And do you think, second part, do you think that the new Fuji medium format means anything? Because it's not a true medium format.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an APS-C medium format.
Just with like a bigger megapixel count or something like that.
It's medium format. I mean, it's bigger than a full frame, but it's not like a true medium format sensor size.
Yeah, I haven't really done a whole lot of research into that Fuji camera. I've seen it and I was like, yo, that's actually a pretty cool looking camera.
Okay.
I'd shoot with it just for fun, just to try it out.
Yeah.
But my ideal camera, like I've said multiple times on this podcast that people have been watching and listening, is a Hasselblad. Like, I love the way a Hasselblad sounds, the way it shoots.
Okay. Like the one that's the affordable Hasselblad,
Yeah,
the
not the
$5,500 one.
Yeah, not the
like,
X1D.
Are you talking about like dropping house down payment?
Yep, I'm talking about like the $35,000 Hasselblad with the digital back and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about those Hasselblads.
The big dog, like you're trying to shoot Vogue magazine
Exactly.
cover,
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
The reason is because there's this photographer that I really look up to. I'm pretty sure you've heard of him. If not, you probably would like his work. But his name's Atiba Jefferson.
I think I've heard the name before.
So he shoots a lot of skateboarding, and he's done a lot of basketball sports players where he'll shoot them on Hasselblad, and he'll shoot skateboarders on Hasselblad. And I'm just like, yo, that's like I love the way those photos look.
Let me ask you this question: do you feel like if you had a Hasselblad, that would solve some problem for you?
No, it wouldn't.
Do you feel like you could get a shot that you can't get with the R4?
Definitely not. It's just something I was like. It's just just the wish list camera. I know that I can get the shots that I want with the camera I have now. It's just like being able to say like, oh, I shoot on Hasselblad. That to me would be like
Flex factor.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
That's just because I like it. I wouldn't be like out there flaunting it to people like, oh, this is what I have, and you know.
Wait, so you want to shoot a Hasselblad, but we're not going to get 150 stories a day.
Oh no.
Of just the camera, like shooting shallow depths on your R4, like just product shots of the Hasselblad.
Nah.
Like a whole page dedicated to you holding. Like I'm just thinking, like if you're gonna flex with it, go all the way. Nah, but I feel you. Yeah, that would be amazing because, medium format, I feel like has some advantages.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, those cameras are not cheap. Even the cheap ones are not cheap.
Yeah.
I have to sell all my equipment I have and my lights and everything and my computer and all this to get like the camera. And then I need the lens and get like one lens, But that being said, the highlight roll off is good.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this stuff can be achieved in editing too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So what do you edit with?
Lightroom and Photoshop.
You don't use Capture One at all?
I've been told to kind of go that way. The first podcast guest that I had, Jose, he was telling me that how he switched over to Capture One, and he was like, you should try it out because it works a lot faster than Lightroom. So I'm thinking about making the switch.
Okay, so I talked to Jose also about Capture One probably a couple years ago, maybe a few years ago, and he got me interested in Capture One. I use Capture One for raw processing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll spill some game on your podcast here.
Yeah.
So initially what I do when I have a shoot, I'll take you from step one.
Okay.
Like I get home from the shoot, back up all the shots.
Gotcha.
I put them on my computer,
Mm-hmm.
like almost immediately. So that way I take away any chance of it being corrupted.
Yeah, in camera or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because I'm usually getting home at night too, and I'm like, I'm going to be thinking about this, like, are all the photos just going to be corrupt?
Yeah.
And I got some fire shots. So, like, I'm backing up I put the photos on the computer, then I back them up to a drive that's the same. I don't use a RAID because I don't want to back up a corruption.
Gotcha.
So I'm manually dropping from SSD to SSD, internal SSD to SSD.
Mm-hmm.
So I have two backups and a third one on my camera because I'm not reformatting that until I confirm and then go to a new shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Then it'll be however long it kind of takes me to visit that shoot. It could be like a day or a couple of days or whatever. Mm-hmm. Then I'll go in and I use Lightroom to catalog everything.
Okay.
Create a brand new catalog. I don't use one catalog with 300,000 photos in it.
Oh no, me either.
So I'll create a brand new catalog, a new folder for each shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I used to name them based off of like either a person's Instagram handle or their name, but now I date them first and then name. So it'll be like the year, month, day.
Okay.
I use like the international style of
so like
the date format,
month
like
first or
year, month,
yes,
day.
Yeah.
So it's easy. So if there's a switch over from 2020 to 2021 and I have everything in this, because sometimes I'll get too lazy to back up off of that drive.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes into Lightroom. I make all the selections of the unedited ones. I'm just kind of going through, picking them. You know how you have the shortcut.
The starring.
So I'm using Z or that I I don't forget what that line is, but
The tilde or whatever.
yeah. So zoom
Pulled
in
that
to
out of
make
my
sure
ass.
that that was awesome. All right, so zoom in. You know, if it looks sharp and it's one that I selected, I'm going for it. Otherwise, if I just kind of get in a rhythm and I'm trusting the gear, then I'm not really zooming in. You know? I'm just trusting that everything's cool, because as long as it's pretty much in focus, I'm not really worried about it. You know? So I'm going through selecting them, you know, and then after that, I will export that, send it out. Model will select the shots. Then I import into Capture One.
So when you send out to the model, do you send through Lightroom or do you send it through like a separate gallery like Google Drive, or a lot of people use Pixie What do you use for that?
Dropbox.
Okay.
The reason why is because Google Drive acts super weird. So if let's say I have 100 photos, then I'm sending out in an unedited folder. For whatever reason, it takes like a business day before all of them show up.
Oh shit.
I mean, I don't know how long exactly, but it's not immediate. You know, I'm usually wanting to take care of all this while I'm right here in front of the computer.
Yeah.
So I'll send it, and then people will open it. Like, most people have their email on their phone now. You know, they'll say, "Oh, I got an email. Check it." And they'll say, like, "I only see, 30 photos here. You know, are there more?" I'm like, "Well, there's supposed to be 100." But what I realized is that Google Drive, it takes a while for them to cache or whatever. You know. Like, I'm seeing them on my end because they're already cached, but it takes a while for like you to be able to see them. Dropbox is not like that. You can see all of them right away.
Okay.
I export the unedited to JPEG, like lower quality JPEG, so it's not a folder of a gigabyte worth of files. You know. Then once the model makes their selections, I'll go back through and I export that, kind of like a copy of the original file. It's the ARW file for Sony, and I shoot in compressed RAW.
Okay.
Because I haven't really noticed a difference, or I haven't noticed a reason for me not to shoot in compressed RAW.
Okay.
Because it's pretty much lossless compression. That
Might
way
have
I'm
to try it out.
saving like hard drive space. So it's like a 24 megabyte file versus 50 megabyte file.
Yeah.
For you, it would probably be 50 versus 100, or
Seriously.
or 60 versus 120, or something like that. And that's when I import to Capture One.
Okay.
For my raw adjustments. Capture One acts different than Lightroom. Lightroom, I feel like you can bring shadows back kind of easier and bring highlights back easier. But I want to say Capture One, the end result of raw processing kind of looks better for my taste. And especially shooting Sony, the color science is off a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Going from Canon to Sony, you can kind of see the big difference in the color science.
Yeah, Canon will have like perfect skin tones and perfect warmth on the photo, like immediately. Some of the Sony, especially with the certain lenses, especially if you're using a neutral density filter or something, possibly, you'll get like a green tint. You'll get different things that you might not want. It might be a little bit too red, a little bit too green, a little bit. It's
the magenta shift is like kind of weird sometimes too.
yeah.
Yep.
So I run it through Capture One, but what I do in there and how I process my raw files, that would be for a different time,
Okay.
But then I'm editing in Photoshop from there.
Okay.
TIFF files in Photoshop.
So you take it from Capture One, turn it into a TIFF, and then finish everything into. Okay.
It's just like Lightroom, how you could right click, edit in.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
So you do that. Well, you're kind of exporting. You edit in, and then it exports and creates a copy.
Okay.
Like a TIFF file. You can make it a PSD file. I don't like making PSDs for whatever reason. PSD files act weird when you go to make any raw, like you make any adjustments, like exposure adjustments to the file later. It will add kind of like a tint to it.
Okay.
I don't know why. And I haven't really got into the scientific reason of why or whatever.
Okay.
But generally speaking, I want the exposure pretty much accurate for my raw processing to Photoshop.
Gotcha. And then before we end the podcast, hold on, because I'm gonna reset this camera one last time.
Yeah, go for it.
And then, so I wanted to ask you, where do you see your photography in the next 3 years?
Okay. So, where I see my photography taking me in the next few years is really to YouTube and beyond. So, I've always intended my photography to be a vehicle that I'm just like riding in, you know. So, my photography got attention towards what I'm trying to do on Instagram, and kind of like that plan worked a little bit. I wish that I had like 1 million followers or whatever, you know, but like I feel like it worked well enough to where now I can shift. So I'm shifting to YouTube, and I'm
Okay.
still going to be running my Instagram page the same way, but I'm adding another spectrum on there, which is YouTube, like I described. So I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel. And so YouTube can become something passive where I don't have to really feel like any pressure, you know, or anything like that. I can just kind of do what I want, and then I'm posting on YouTube. The next thing that I have on the agenda where that's kind of taking it is YouTube's going to prep me for the next phase, which the next phase will be films and things like that. Like I'm writing 2 different films right now,
Oh, dang. Okay.
and so I'm working on that and kind of like the media production side,
Oh,
and kind
nice.
of more of like a private media production type of situation.
Gotcha.
Like just like in my Instagram bio, it says pretty clearly, I don't offer photography services. Like I create art, you know? And that's kind of like my intention with my photography. I never got into photography trying to own a job,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Like I don't want to own like a like just a job, like just like if I think as photography as any other job, you know what I mean? Like that's never been it for me personally. It might be it for some people, but for me personally, like I've had these other aspirations. So it's like, not saying I wouldn't want to do photography for a living or anything like that. Like definitely do, but saying like I don't want it to end there.
Gotcha.
You know, I'm trying to take it to media production, kind of like what you were talking about, like video production, and then hopefully creating films. I'm not at the level yet where I have an Arri Alexa or a Red cinema camera or like a Red Monstro
8K.
8K
Yeah.
or any things like that. So I know Netflix has their little approved list of cameras, you know, and I'm not at the level to even get the bottom camera on that list yet, but I'm trying to build up to a point to where I could create like a strong crew and a strong set of people that I work with,
Gotcha.
and then together we can produce something amazing.
You can get the new the little Komodo.
Yeah. Sell my car, sell my
It's only 6K for the
equipment.
body.
Yeah, only sell everything, you know, and we need some more government stimulus checks to come
Exactly.
through for that. But
Yeah.
that's really where I kind of see it. And so that's something that I've always appreciated off of Instagram. It's like how we met. Like I feel like I can get in touch with people, you know, and I'm like we didn't really get into too much, but like this is how I always am, you know, how I've always been is I'm plotting. So
Okay.
like I'm thinking like ahead, you know. So when I deal with people and I see how cool people are and things like that, like I'm remembering these things. And then when I put a team together, you know, to accomplish something, then I'm pulling from like knowledge that I have stored up or
Yeah.
about different individuals and how I've dealt with them, you know. And so that's kind of how it is. Because like I said before, there's only one thing that I learned in this, and it's if you deal with people in a cool way, this is not just photography or media or anything like that. This is just life in general. If
Yep.
you're easy to deal with, you know, and you do what you say you're gonna do, people are gonna want to do more business with you or work with you more on
Yeah,
things.
true.
You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the most important factor. You know, when I was learning about business, I learned about that too. That's kind of like how people are. A lot of people don't realize that, like their lifetime earnings, you know, has to do more with how they deal with people than what they actually know.
Yeah.
You can be the best photographer and have the most talent and the most skills, but if you can't deal with people, you know, and you're not able to handle difficult situations, like pretty much constantly, you know, and work past that, then it's really hard to take it to another level.
True.
You know, just in general. You know, and you can take that and apply it to kind of
Everything in life.
Yeah, and then we can go as deep as you want to go down that rabbit hole and talk about quantum physics or something and the reality and what's real and you know, and how everybody, I mean, because everybody has a different worldview. All right, so like the way I'm understanding this planet in my place here, you know, is different than the way you're understanding
Exactly.
it. It's a different. We're 8 billion people or whatever, and we're 8 billion different consciousnesses that have 8 billion different views.
And mindsets are completely different, and it's just
Yeah. So all I can kind of control is mine. So
Yeah.
I know where I'm going with it, and I'm just trying to build something, and why. Like,
okay.
why does it matter? Why does it matter if I create a film? Why does it matter if my like YouTube channel pops off? Why does it matter if, you know, if people even check out my Instagram or not? You know, which everybody that's watching this should be following me on Instagram, subscribing to Cory C Photography YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But why? And it's just because I'm just trying to have fun. And I'm hoping that when other people see what I'm doing, they'll have a little bit of fun too and a little bit of entertainment.
Yeah.
Like you had talked about before, how the pandemic like got you down a little bit. So, you know, like I've been in some situations and stuff like that. Like we've all been in situations and we all grew up how we grew up and stuff. And some people, you know, so we all go through things. It's tough to kind of rise up when things push you down.
Yeah, definitely.
So if I can provide one little like way for people to enjoy themselves or see something, like they see my photo and they're like, oh, this is really cool. This is a cool scene. Like I want people to wish that they were there, like they're escaping, you know, I want them to wish that they were there at that scene. That's why I shoot a lot of sunsets too.
Okay.
People will see this and they'll say like, oh, that looks so cool. Or, you know, and it kind of gets you thinking. And if it can create some kind of positivity, you know, then I'm all for that.
That's awesome.
With my YouTube, hopefully it creates a new dimension to that.
Yeah.
Instead of you just seeing this photo, you're able to kind of dive into that world and see what's going on behind the scenes and see what we're going through and see that you could do it too.
Yeah. That's perfect because, like I said, again, that's why I wanted this podcast, just to kind of pick your brain. It's like, well, why did you create that image, you know, so people could feel like they're there. You know, that's an awesome thing. Something I've been asking people on the podcast, if money wasn't an issue and you could buy your dream setup, whatever cameras, if it was multiple, one, whatever, what would your dream setup be and what would your dream photo shoot be?
Okay. So if money wasn't an issue, my dream setup right now would probably be either the latest like Sony camera, like the A9 or no A1 that's coming out, because it could kind of do everything and have every like GM lens. That would be one idea. Another idea would be to have that. To have like once the A7 IV comes out or something kind of easy to grab, like a hybrid, if it shoots 4K 60, and to have like a high end, you know, like gear setup, like Hasselblad or something like that, and of course have some kind of cinema camera and everything that goes along with that. So I would say just kind of like I wouldn't really change what I'm doing. I would just get better, like higher end equipment.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm using a Canon to shoot my YouTube videos and my B-roll.
Okay.
I'm shooting with the A7 III, and I technically could upgrade. I know there's new cameras out or whatever, but it gets the job done.
That's what matters.
So that's kind of how I go about it. If and we know what your dream setup is.
Yeah, the Hasselblad. That's for photos. Definitely for cinema would be something completely different. But
I'd probably mess with that red Monstro 8K, the VV 8K. It's a new movie that's on Netflix, a zombie movie that was shot in that. I watched the like behind the making the movie.
The one in Vegas, right? Okay, I don't remember the name of it, but
he shot that all on that It was the guy who did Justice League, and in a 50 mil He's using the 50 mil 1.0 Canon lens, refitted like custom.
Okay.
Created a cinema mount for you know. So that seemed pretty cool.
What's that? Something Snyder. Is Zack Snyder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I started watching the behind the scenes, and then my son was doing something, and it completely spaced on watching it. So I got to rewatch it just to kind of see what happened and how it was filmed and all that.
Yeah. It's a good movie, and it was really interesting. He shot wide open the whole movie.
Yeah, that's
Manual focus,
That's the AC must have been first AC or second AC must have just been like cranking that focus.
Oh, he was getting down and dirty with it.
Was he?
He was the DP, the director of photography on that film. So he was like getting the shot over here, like tilted over some stuff. Like it shows all the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I gotta finish watching it for sure.
Like getting the shot where they're jumping over him and stuff like that. It was crazy. And like I personally found that very valuable, to see something like that and interesting. Not like necessarily I would apply this and it's like, oh, I want, like, of course I wouldn't mind if somebody is like, here, you can have a Red Monster 8K, I'd want it, but it's not like it changes really my view on certain things. But I think that's why I want to, I feel really motivated to create my YouTube channel too.
Okay.
When I was first starting my photography, I had gotten some tutorials, but there wasn't really a way to see what's going on during a photo shoot. Or a way just how people are kind of directing and acting, So I'm just kind of winging it. I still wing it now, but I think it could be valuable and maybe entertaining for people to see that.
When you're shooting your YouTube videos, your behind the scenes and stuff, are you talking to the camera and kind of explaining your thought process as to what you're doing with settings or lighting and how it's changing? Are you doing anything like that or?
Not yet.
Okay.
Right now, I guess the way you could think of it is like a movie trailer mixed with some like just static B-roll or something, like kind of like a fast, you'll see it. It's like a fast forwarded type of B-roll, time lapse on the GoPro.
Okay.
Mixed in with almost kind of like, think like movie trailer, like highlights. So like poses that you would see on my Instagram, but in video.
Gotcha.
Like they're going through their poses and things like that. In the future, I will be doing that. I have a lav mic and I can film it on set, but I don't really like how the audio sounds that close to the ocean with the waves crashing.
Yeah.
It's a pain because I know I'm just not going to want to do it. Like if I go home and it's going to take me all this time to audio process, which I could do. I used to mix and master my own beats and produce music and all this stuff. But I don't want to, I know just enough about that to know that I don't want to spend any time doing that.
Gotcha.
I want to press one button and it like select voice, select auto volume, level it or whatever, and be done with it.
Okay.
So I'll probably like run through that in the studio, that portion of it, like a voiceover, and then I can kind of accurately describe what's going on as well.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a good point. And if people are requesting that and they want to hear a thought process behind it, I'm definitely going to do that. Probably on my videos where it's more slowed down.
Gotcha.
These first few videos that I drop will probably be 2 to 5 minutes of just kind of like fun, like out there music, like, behind the scenes, and you kind of get an idea. And I've been going through it right now, and I feel like if I was like, I'm all about like the experience of it. So I feel like if I was watching it, there's stuff that I could pick up even as a photographer. It's like, oh, that's why, he does that, or seeing how I shoot or what angles I'm shooting from, or kind of how I'm going through the flow.
Yeah.
You might even see me, how I direct, like I'll direct a lot of like times kind of, I'll show, the model, the pose, and then so they can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. And when it's fast forwarded, it looks really funny and cool. So I think that'll be kind of entertaining for people to see me go up and be like, do a little pose and then walk off, and then they'll do it,
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, I'll kind of walk them through what the vision is.
Okay. That's awesome.
And I think it would be valuable for me to run a slow down video and kind of give more of an example, and also show more in depth behind the scenes, maybe even some audio at the time, because the way I shoot is really collaborative.
Okay.
I don't shoot in a forced fashion, and I don't shoot something just because like I have a vision of it or whatever. Like we have to shoot this. I'm not the type of photographer like I need to get this particular shot.
Gotcha.
I'm letting it kind of grow, like the collaboration. So I'm listening to what like the model will have inspiration poses, I'll have inspo shots and stuff, and we'll kind of like see what happens based off of that and let it kind of develop, especially with poses.
Okay.
I'm not like we have to get this pose. It has to be this lighting. It has to be this shot. And I feel like people that shoot with strobes a lot are kind of complete opposite of the way I shoot, because I've shot with people like that shoot strobes, and I've seen somebody shoot strobe at the beach. So having to set up this whole shot, you know what I mean? And that's why I don't really use lights so much,
Okay.
unless I have to, because I don't have to keep messing with this. It messes up the flow that I have, in the rapport that, like in this, I don't know if rapport is the word, kind of like the flow, like it's very much like a connection thing,
Yeah.
like there's an energy. So the energy of the shoot, like the vibe of the shoot.
Yeah.
So we're shooting and flowing and getting these shots, and I don't have to keep on saying like, wait, hold on a second, let me move this. Hold on, let me test this out. And I feel like I have to do that during certain shots, and it could kind of disrupt the flow of the shoot.
Okay. And that's what that. Yeah. Obviously, you don't like that because
It's
just annoying, and because I've been through it where I'll be shooting and I'm like, oh fuck, the light's not right, and I'm like, all right, give me like a minute or two to fix the light, and it does break up like the whole process, because it's kind of like when you're editing at home and you get distracted from something and you were in the flow of editing. It's kind of pretty much the same thing.
I think that's why I'm caught up now on editing. I'm a Lakers fan, so the Lakers got out of the playoffs early. I'm always watching like the game or something on like a different on like a different screen. I'm watching either a show or right now playoffs, so I can watch like the Suns, Suns Clippers game,
Okay.
without being distracted. Because like I don't really care who wins.
Yeah.
But if the Lakers are playing, it will really distract me. Especially right now, and there was last year, there was more, and it was more than just a game last year.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows that 2020 was tragic in many ways.
Yeah, for sure.
When we lost Kobe and stuff.
Yeah.
And
that was a big hit for sure for a lot of people.
Yeah, that was well. I grew up on Laker games.
Same.
We have KCal 9 watching every single game. And I've seen Magic play. Shaq, and so that kind of hit. And then I'm like, all right, well, we have a squad. We have AD. We have LeBron now. And then I knew that if we won last year, that everybody would accept LeBron. And that happened. So now he's in the lineage.
Yeah, true.
I don't feel like we had to win this year, but
it would have been nice to have it again.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have a back-to-back, even a three-peat. But who knows? Maybe when they let them get a little bit of rest and not play
like so many games in a row and all that stuff.
Have like they had weeks off before they had to start training again.
Okay.
Because it was a condensed season. So they started it back up right after the game. And like LeBron, I mean, it's not his first year.
Yeah.
And he was calling it early that there was going to be injuries. And look at it now. In the Suns Clippers game I was watching yesterday, CP3 was out, Kawhi is out. There's two superstars right there that are out of the series. So I feel like you're not getting a true assessment of who the champion is. It's like whoever showed up with all their players.
Whoever's not tired for fucking whatever from all these games and stuff.
So that's kind of, so to get on that subject, like, I feel like now it's easier for me to edit because I'm not distracted by basketball games and stuff. That being said, I need to get into a mode, like my photography, I very much have a structured flow of how I edit.
Okay.
Even down to like the plugins I use in Photoshop and different things and different ways I edit. I don't necessarily edit every photo the same, but I edit them all the same. if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. Do you use the Retouch Academy at all plugin for?
I've seen that plugin, but I don't use it.
Okay. Because I downloaded it and I tried it and I was like, this is confusing, and I just stopped using it.
I know some people that swear by it.
Yeah, I guess I just had to learn it, and because to me it was just confusing. I was like, it throws off my way of editing, so I was just like, I'll leave it for another day.
I use frequency separation, but I use it different than a lot of people would use it, and I don't dodge and burn.
Okay.
And if I was going to dodge and burn, the way I would dodge and burn is different.
Really? Well, I thought you did do a little dodge and burn, but
I don't use any dodge and burn.
okay.
The way I build contrast is different,
Okay.
and that would have to be a whole other tutorial.
That'll be on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, that'll be
for you guys to watch
on the YouTube channel. But I don't know how much game I could spill, because the thing is too, you could show me exactly what you do and how you edit, and it's still going to be difficult for me to get that same exact
Edit
shot or replicate that shot. I know, because somebody who was teaching me a lot about photography, we would, I think he still does his Twitch streams, but we would all go on Twitch and we had our little group that we'd go on there and watch, edit, and then he would critique our shots sometimes. And he kind of helped me work past certain things in some of my shots. But just watching him edit, I've seen this guy edit 100 photos, like just real time. I mean, from like not even hiding anything, from like raw processing to retouching to, I think he uses like the alien skin plugins, and he even has all the presets that you can get and download, and still I have no idea how he's getting his shots like this.
Wow.
It's kind of like if there's a really complex process, like it's almost impossible to duplicate.
Yeah.
So
he just knows his way of doing it, and just
and then his way of building contrast and stuff might be different than the way I build contrast. In mine, I'm constantly evolving. So a shot that you see me post a month ago, I'm editing completely different today.
Okay.
Or even 6 months ago,
and that's why
a year ago.
That's why photography is such an art form, because of the editing. There's just so many different ways of editing a photo. No one's gonna do it the same way, and if
I feel that if somebody, so as a tip for like new photographers starting out, or people that like maybe feel like they hit a wall or something, or like plateaued with their photography skills, like learning editing and trying new things with editing can transform the way you think about your photography.
Okay.
Because it's easy. Like for me, I'll do a lot of beach shoots, and a lot of them are at the same beach. And a lot of times you could look at my photos and it doesn't look like it's kind of difficult. If I didn't label them, I'm sure people wouldn't know where I shot them, or if I intentionally used different, like a different set, like basically like a different background, you wouldn't know it's at the same beach. Sometimes you might not even know that I'm at the beach or whatever. It's just like that, and that's cool. That's like composition and paying attention to that. And then there's equipment, and I can get a new lens and then feel all ramped up, like all excited about this new lens.
Yeah.
And that will help motivate me. But the thing that motivates me the most, the two things that motivate me the most are seeing other photographers shot with a model. That motivates me a lot. Because I'll see another photographer shot with this model and what the type of photos they got, and I'm like, I want to get like a better photo than that.
Okay.
So even if and I'm cool with everybody, I feel like, you know what I mean? And so it's not like personal or whatever. It's a competition thing. It's like all fun. Like I want you to feel like that too. I want you to be like, oh, I'm going to get a better shot than Cory got here.
Yeah, I got
or
you.
whatever. And so that's like one motivation for me.
Okay.
It's like I want to have the best photo on somebody's page, objectively the best, not like me thinking it's the best. I'm saying like objectively the best. Another thing is editing.
Okay.
So when you work on your editing and you get your editing down, it builds your confidence in your shots, and it builds your confidence in when you're out shooting what you can do. So I know that I can save any shot pretty much that I'm going to get. I know exactly in what scenario, and this comes with experience.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I know that if I shoot this certain style or this certain way, then I'm going to have to edit it a certain way, and so I'm shooting to edit. I already have the finished product in my head when I'm shooting the initial photo, and I feel like that gives me confidence and comfort knowing what I'm gonna do with the photo.
Okay.
And I'm kind of pushing through that. So I know if the light's out, my first thing would, when I first started out, my first thing would be like, okay, we need to find shade or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And now I don't shoot like that anymore because I feel like that's impairing my progress or hindering my progress. You know, it's like I need to learn how to shoot
in bright
sun.
Yeah.
Like I did a shoot last week. No, the week before last week. Because last week it was cloudy a couple times I was out there. But I did a shoot like during the day, and I hadn't shot during the day in a long time. You know, because I'm like, I just need to be able to shoot anytime. And I like those photos a lot, you know, and I'm able to edit them a certain way.
Okay.
You know, so it's kind of progress. And I noticed this with some photographers on Instagram. You'll see their photos year after year, and they don't, I mean, they're good photos, but I'm waiting for them to like really hit their stride.
Okay.
And that's, if I was like mentoring somebody or like doing a workshop or teaching somebody about photography, I would tell them, like in their scenario, shoot more, you know, just don't be afraid to shoot, especially when you're starting out. We're all students.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you have to be a lifelong student, especially in photography. Just shoot. Who cares if you're not getting paid or whatever? Unless you got to get paid, figure out a way to work that out. But what I'm saying is, if you want to get really, really good at photography, you have to shoot a lot.
Yeah.
And you have to shoot when you don't want to shoot and edit when you don't want to edit. Because you could see when somebody puts in the work, and all of a sudden something clicks, and they're like, whoa, this is it. I've seen that with a couple of photographers where over the past year, their work has gone to another level. And I'll mention that, and I'll say like, whoa, like, you know, you got it. Like now it's, your photos are just fire, you know, and you'll see this progress and stuff. And some people are good and do progress a little bit. And I haven't reached out to them yet or whatever, but I try to give props where props are due.
Okay.
You know, and things like that, and try to encourage people. And then people that are just starting out will hit me up about photography. Like, oh, how did you get this shot? Or and there's no way that I can really like shortcut it for you.
Yeah.
I could bring you out to a shoot with me and show you exactly what I do, and hopefully you pull something out from that.
Yeah.
But it's tough for me to walk you through step by step by step. And even if I do, it's tough for when you're out on set to accomplish that step by step.
For real. All right, man. So we're gonna go ahead and end it on there for the new people. If you guys want to reach out to Cory, he'll try to help you, guide you in the right way, and go ahead and plug your stuff where everyone can go and find you. Yeah, please go on Instagram at Cory C Photography and on YouTube at Cory C Photography, or just Cory C Photography. It'll be my YouTube channel. YouTube is going to be the place that you find more instructional content. Instagram's where you're going to see the results of what is on YouTube. So definitely go subscribe if you're interested in finding out more about my photography, maybe picking up some tips, even seeing some behind the scenes, which that will help a lot with. All right, man. Thanks for being on. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.